like to ask Jared Kushner to talk about the immigration policy, the plans, what we have short-term, long-term. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. And this actually fits very well with what we've spoken about. We were talking before about all the great trade deals and all the jobs that are coming to America. And then Dr. Carson and Director Turner, what they've been talking about with the Opportunity Zone Revitalization Council, really raising wages and lifting people up. Now it's time to go to figuring out how to modernize our immigration system. When the President asked me to get involved in this last year, the President asked me to work with him to take the ideas that he had for a modern immigration system and figure out how to turn that into a very detailed proposal. In May, the President presented the principles, and we got a very, very warm reception on the principles. And now what we're doing is we finished the legislation. It's about 620 pages. The group has been working very hard, again, at the President's direction in Washington. I find a lot of people are very quick to say what they're against, but it's very important for us to articulate as an administration what we're for, but to do it in detail. And we're not afraid to put out details because we think that this proposal is a very, very good proposal that really is great for America. The Trump administration, despite what some people say, believes in safe, legal immigration and is against illegal and random migration. America is by far the greatest country in the world, and the greatest honor that somebody can have is to become an American citizen. This is something that we value, and this is something that everyone in the country should value. America deserves to have the best immigration system in the world. We've studied a lot of the other countries, what they've done, what they have with the economy, with where our industry is at. We think we can have an immigration system that really is the envy of the world, and also a border security system that keeps all of our citizens safe. This bill will create a modern, merit-based immigration system that allows the best and the brightest from throughout the world to compete based on objective criteria to become American citizens. This bill also creates the gold standard for border security. It was not designed by the politicians. We had a lot of input from politicians, but we went and spent a lot of time with the border security professionals, and they told us what they need to fully secure the border. But the border is not just about illegal immigration. It's also about keeping drugs out of the country, making sure that we're scanning all of the different vehicles, packages that come to the country, and also expediting the commerce. As our economy continues to grow, we have more and more packages that are exported and imported through our borders. Our infrastructure is woefully out of date, and we want to make sure that we're able to facilitate this trade in a very, very secure but expedited fashion. Next slide. I spoke to all of you about last time about the objectives that the President has for his immigration plan. We obviously want to make sure that we fully secure our borders, that we protect American wages. For the first time in almost 20 years, because of the President's policies, Americans' wages are rising. And they're rising the fastest for the people who are most vulnerable in the lowest wage categories. For the first time, we have more jobs available than people who are searching for jobs, and we're bringing more and more people who aren't in the workforce into the workforce. We want an immigration system. The current system imports a lot of low-wage labor. We want to make sure we're bringing in people who will grow GDP, create jobs, and do this in a way where we're not putting downward pressure on wages at the lower levels. We want to attract the best and brightest. We want to welcome people to this country. We want to prioritize the unification of immediate families from an immigration point of view. We want to make sure that we have labor in the critical industries that we have in our country. We have so much growth in so many areas, but we have a lot of labor shortages in different industries. We want to make sure that we're bringing people in who are filling those gaps. And then we also have to make sure that we preserve our humanitarian values. Right now, a lot of people take advantage of the largesse of America. We're the #1 contributor to resettling refugees throughout the world. We've taken a tremendous amount of refugees, but we have a lot of people who are abusing the system and using it as a way to cut the line and to go in front of a system that was designed to really favor legal immigration. Next slide. So basically the two pillars of what we put together, and it's a very, very detailed proposal, is going to be the merit-based system, which I'll go into more later, then also the border security. And again, I think these are both systems that we could all be very proud of. Next slide. So the infrastructure at the border is very important. What this does is it fully secures our border. It completes the wall. Right now we have over 400 miles of wall that has either been built or is going to be built, and that does a lot of the job. This will finish the job. We want to make sure that all the ports of entry are fully modernized. We want to target that 100% of the people and the goods and the vehicles that cross the border are fully scanned. We have the technology to do this, but we just have not appropriated the resources to do that. This will allow us to really stop all the drugs and the counterfeit goods that are going through our ports of entry. And we want to make sure also for the business that the trade is much more, goes through quicker and is facilitated properly. And we also want to make sure that there's a self-sustaining revenue fund so that we're not in a position where we allow this critical infrastructure to atrophy like we've allowed it to happen over time. And then finally, we want to make sure that we fully enforce the law. We have to fix some of the laws, which this bill does. It eliminates the magnets, but we want to make sure that it's fully enforced. The Border Patrol professionals, who really are amazing people, I've had the real privilege to work with, who do an incredible job to keep us all safe, that they have all the resources they need to be successful. Next slide. So this was the slide that had the biggest impact on me and why this is such a critical thing to securing America's future. Whereas if you look at the top of the slide, you'll see that America's system is a very outdated system compared to some of the peer countries that we compete with. We compete with these countries on trade, and we're also competing with these countries for talent. Right now, just 12% of the people who become legal immigrants. Last year we had 1.1 million people become citizens. That's a great thing. We are keeping the number the same, but we want to change the composition of what that's made up of. 12% of the people who are coming in are filling economic needs that we have. You compare that to some of our peer countries like Canada, they're at 53%, New Zealand at 59%, Australia 63%, and Japan at 52%. Under President Trump's proposal, we'll go to 57%, which puts us right in the range and will make us competitive. And again, the way we came up with this is we studied what all other people in the world were doing. We took their best practices, and we figured out how to build a system that is able to really be the best of everything in the world. Next slide. So to really sum up, what this bill will do is it will lead to a fully secure border. It will solve the humanitarian crisis. It will make sure we have a secure border both now and then long into the future. It'll protect American wages, the things that we've done in this country, whether it's tax reform, whether it's deregulation, whether it's energy independence, all the work you're doing on workforce training and opportunity zones and trying to lift people up. That's been having a tremendous effect, but we want to make sure that the immigration system isn't just importing low-wage labor to then keep wages down. We want to make sure that it's growing America's economy, and this will do that. It enhances social diversity. It will bring in from a wide range of countries. People will come in, and we figured out how to make sure that we follow the practice that Australia does with diversity pooling to make sure that it gives us a good cross-section of people coming in to maintain what's great about this country. And then it also leads to growing the U.S. economy. It will create over $500 billion in tax revenues over 10 years, which is tremendous. And this happens because it will create a lot of jobs, brings in a lot of people who are then paying into the social safety nets, not people who are coming in and then immediately taking from the social safety nets, which right now have to support Americans who are currently citizens. So this will be a very tremendous thing. It will make a lot of money for the country. And then finally, it will simplify a very complicated system. And this is one of the amazing things. If you try to become an American citizen today, and you go on our website, we have some very smart people in this room. You probably could figure it out, but it would take you a long time. If you go to a country like Canada and you go on their website, you could probably figure it out in about 10 minutes, what qualifications you need, what visa you would apply for, how it would happen. Our system over time, it's like a coat of paint on top of a coat of paint on top of a coat of paint. What we want to do here is really sand it down to the base and then have a new system that's representative of the times, that's representative of our values, and something we could all be proud of. So thanks to the President's leadership, we've worked very, very hard over the last 7 months to put this together, really at your direction. This is your plan. We've met now with over 25 Senate offices. We've gotten extensive feedback from them. They've made a lot of good suggestions. We've tightened it up, and we'll be ready to release it very soon. We're meeting today with the leadership from the House and the Senate, and hopefully what we can do is have a unified Republican plan for what it is that we're for. And I think that these plans will keep Americans safer, will keep America more prosperous, and continue to make sure that the American dream is available and America continues to be the promised land for people throughout the world who want to earn their way to becoming citizens. So thank you for your leadership, and you have information in your binders, and we have a 22-page summary that we'll be submitting to all your offices. And again, immigration doesn't just touch Homeland Security or Justice or State. It really touches all of your agencies. And so if we can get this right, it will really be something that will be great for our country, both the short term, medium term, and the long term. So thank you very much.
Thank you. This is a common sense plan. It's a plan where we've studied almost every country. Some good, some bad, some tremendously successful, some not successful at all. And this is the best of everything. And it gives incentive to people. It also, we have a problem. I'm called constantly by people, they want to have really smart people working in their companies. We have companies where you need very smart people. And we don't have a provision for smart people. You can graduate from a college, you can be number one in your class in the best college in the country and be thrown out of the country the following day. And we want to be able to keep people in that have this kind of genius. Silicon Valley is constantly complaining. They're building places in Canada, they're building places elsewhere because Our immigration plans don't allow this. Well, we have to have this, whether we like it or not. We have to have this, and we'll be able to get it. But I've met with many people that have very good intentions, but they have to have smart people, and they have to have smart people stay in our country and be able to stay here for a period of time, not just for a short period of time where they can't even buy a house. They don't know if their family should move. So we're doing a lot of things to help people. I think as you saw and as Jared really put it very well, our country has a tremendous immigration gap. These are plan after plan after plan, and each plan is very simple, overly simple. When you put them together, they're indistinguishable. You can't, it becomes a maze of complexity that nobody even knows the answer to. You have people studying, we're going to have a really beautiful system of immigration. People are going to be able to come into our country, be proud of our country, and help our country. We want them to help us. You know, it's a two-way street. They have to help us also. And it's met with great popularity. Now, if it doesn't get passed, because we do have the Democrats, because they're against almost everything, we'd love to do it in a bipartisan way. We'll make changes. We'll do what we have to do. But if it doesn't get passed, it's a campaign issue, because we'll pass it if and when we win the Congress. We'll win the House, and we should be able to keep the Senate, win the Senate, maybe pick up some seats, and hopefully we're going to keep the presidency. That I feel very comfortable. I feel very confident about, but I feel also very confident we have a very good chance at winning back the House. And it may very well be an election issue, because this plan is a plan like no other. This is the best of everything all over the world. And it's a very fair plan. We have to say that and stress it. Very, very fair plan, very compassionate plan. So it could very well be something that gets done where everybody puts politics aside and they get it voted on. Or if it isn't, you know, the election's 15 months away, very close. Who would have thought that? But it's very close, and we will put this as a major election issue. This is what people want. They want this kind of a plan. They want the compassion, but they also want a merit-based plan where people come in and can help our country. So I appreciate you seeing that. I think what I'd like to do, if I could, ask our Secretary of State, who's doing a terrific job,